Alright. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, anything in its beginning is always hard. When a child is learning how to walk, they crawl first, they walk, then they run. So there is an approach called crawl, walk, run, and fly. I don't know if you are familiar with it or not, but this is an approach whenever you start an institution or something. Today, I wanted to emphasize on you as a student of knowledge, where do we start and how to continue, and the importance of maintenance, where to start and how to continue, how to maintain and where to continue. Everything you need a plan for. Everything you need a plan for. So for seeking the knowledge is a lifetime initiative. And not initiative, this is a lifetime progress. I want you to write that down, and I want you to say that to yourself, that there is no end to it. Knowledge in general, like human knowledge and Muslim knowledge, there is no end to it. Does that mean that there is something that we require to, but it is impossible to achieve? That's not true. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah will never ever overburden someone with something that they cannot achieve. But Allah Azza wa Jalla kept it open. You have a limit of obligation. And then you have a limit of preference after that. And then there is an open area for those who want to compete. And there is area that only prophets reach, only angels reach. And Allah Azza wa Jalla giving everything around us to look at, to know your own limitation and to know the unlimited power of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Because someone can come to you and say, well, why Allah Azza wa Jalla showing us a road that we cannot reach the end of if we're not going to reach the end of? So why He's showing it to us? Yeah? That is actually a very short-visioned, shallow-minded person. Or a child. And it's either some child or teenager, someone who's not mature in their head. Or someone very narrow-visioned. They only see under their feet. Well, you have the universe around you, and for sure you're not going to reach the end of it. You're not going to know the dimensions of it. But for that attribute itself, it gives you an incentive to keep going and exploring. You know? Whenever you know there is an end to something, what if you reach that end? Then what? That's why those people who are very, very, very wealthy, they thought that money is the end of it. Well, I am the richest guy in the world. What does that even mean? Think about it, sisters. What does that even mean? Think for a minute, like, I am the richest woman in the world. I'm the richest human being in the world. You live by yourself. You're lonely. You are alone. And whatever you achieve, you know that you don't have the wealth of the whole world. You don't. Can you feed every single human being forever? No. Even if you want to, even if you have the money to, well, some people, they don't want to eat the food that you are offering. Some people, they don't want to eat when you offer it. Some people don't want to eat how you offer it. Some people don't want to eat at all. They want to dress. They want clothing. You're not God. Yeah. Some people want to smile. Some people want to hug. Some people want this, want that. So what's your money? What your money is going to do even? What money is going to do for you? Are you going to be able to accept the prayers of each and every person on the face of this earth? Just at least the people in your city, the champions area, who on the face of this earth can come and say, I'm going to make every single person living between 45 and 242, Beltway 8 and Grand Parkway, that square, I'm going to make each and every human being happy. So your money is going to do that? So what does that even mean, being the richest person in the world? I hope you grasp it now. So when there's something that has an end, so what's the point of living? Okay, I achieved it, then what now? And always you will have a question that, pressing itself. What is after that? But now we have an endless universe, and nobody can say what is after exploring the universe. Can anybody make that statement? No. That is why, when it comes to knowledge, nobody can come and say, what is after I have all the knowledge in the world? They make it like this artificial intelligence now, this Google coming up with something called Bard, and then you have the ChatGPT and all of that. But at the end of the day, can they feel it? Feel what you feel? And you say, like, I'm feeling sad now. What is the degree of my sadness? What is the degree of my sadness? Can they figure that out? It's artificial intelligence. No. Can they find the exact thing that will take you out of the state of grief or sadness? I don't think so. If you lose a loved one, can artificial intelligence make you feel better? Can all the knowledge in this website with artificial intelligence, the whole knowledge of the world existing, can it succeed to take you out of the state of grief and make you get over it and feel like as you were feeling before losing that loved one? No. You see? So there are things that's open-ended, and human knowledge is like that. Human knowledge is exactly like that. And knowledge about Allah and His deen has to be like that. It has to be open-ended, so you feel the need, you feel how powerless you are, how helpless you are. You feel that you are a drop in that ocean. Whatever you know, it's like a drop in the oceans of the world. Subhanallah. And even all these oceans of the world, if we suppose for a minute, for the sake of argument, that somebody can have those oceans. Allah says, if all those oceans and 7 times more, they become ink, they turn to become ink, 7 times the water on the planet Earth. And that times 7, and they become ink. And every single tree on the planet become a pen. And you use that ink to write the words of Allah, the ink will finish without even scratching the surface of the word of Allah. So Allah giving us the magnitude of knowledge. And I'm saying all of this to feel your size as a student of knowledge. Knowledge makes you more humble. Knowledge makes you feel more little, more ignorant, more as nothing. So do not become proud of it. Become more humble in this, existence. In front of Allah, subhanallah. Arsh of Allah is the greatest creation of Allah. Is the biggest creation of Allah, is the Arsh. Is the Arsh, the throne of Allah. It's the biggest creation, bigger than heavens and earth. Prophet ﷺ told us that heavens and earth and whatever in between means that endless universe of ours, our perception of a universe around us. You bring all of that compared to the Arsh of Allah, it is like a ring, like this, in the desert, the biggest desert. So can you imagine the biggest desert in the world? And that ring is thrown in it, and nobody knows where it is. So I throw it there, and nobody knows where it is. I said, go find my ring. So all this universe compared to the arsh of Allah is like that thing. So now what kind of knowledge do you need to comprehend that? So what is the kursi? The kursi, the stool. وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض. That stool is like, bigger than heavens and earth. And the kursi compared to the arsh is like that also. So all of this compared to the kursi of Allah is like a ring. And the kursi compared to the arsh is like that too. So who's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how he sits and how he's above his throne? We don't even know. So when you study, now I'm bringing you from all of these big things to studying like Aqidah, or studying with Sheikh Mamdouh, or studying tafsir, or studying something. That's where we are. I hope I put it in perspective for all of us today. See that this universe and all of these big concepts that you cannot even comprehend keep coming down to studying a book. That book compared to the library, that I have, for example, in the masjid, it has like about 100 books. So that's 100th of what is in the room in Imam's office in Masjid Champion, in 1 or 2 shelves. 2 bookshelves, 3 bookcases. How are the books in the Islamic Library of Muslims in Al-Azhar University? All this. How about all the books written since the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How about all the books since Adam alayhi salam? So if you're studying a book, who are you? Like some people, they come and say, oh, I studied a book with the Sheikh and I took an ijazah. What is that? Really, what is that? This is nothing except documentation, saying that you did this. But does that say how knowledgeable you are? And all the ijazahs and all the certifications that I have in the PhD and this degree and this degree and that certificate and this certificate and that certificate. Are all those, do they make me more knowledgeable? No. Are they a proof of my knowledge? No. Are they qualifying me to do something? No. They're just pieces of paper. Even books I author or anything like that. What are they? Do they say that I memorize every single word of them? No. Even the book I wrote, or the books I wrote that you can come and tell me that I cannot memorize them. I memorize the Quran, but I cannot say them from my memory. Can't do that. So with that said, where do you start? So now you know where you are. You're very tiny, very small. What you're going to achieve? As much as you can. But whatever you achieve is very small. So now you know your size. Now you know your intention. Now how humble you are. Now, Ya Allah, increase me in knowledge. رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. You know that whatever knowledge you have is very little. It's great to start. That is a great mood to start. That's what you need to have in your head when you're starting. Okay? Now, where to start? In Islamic knowledge, start with the Book of Allah. Start with Quran. Of course, this comes to the culture, tradition, the time present, and all of that. How do you start with the Quran? Now, little child can start memorizing the Quran, but to memorize the Quran, you need to be able to read and write the letters of Quran in Arabic, whether you're able to speak it or not. So that's the issue. So are able to read the Quran, the text of the Quran, so you can memorize it. Once you succeed in doing so, memorize the Quran. Now you need to understand it. Again, you need Arabic language in more depth to understand it. What if you don't? Use English, but know that you are now going 1 level down. Whatever you achieve is secondary to knowing it in the original language. You have to understand that. It's not to degrade you or look down upon you or anything like that, but whatever you do, however you achieve it, you are still lesser than a person who's studying Quran in Arabic. I'm speaking to you in English now. whatever I say, whatever I do, doesn't matter how eloquent it is, how beneficial it is, how good you see it, it's nothing compared to if I express that in Arabic language. I'll be speaking, flowing in the Arabic language from one word to another, from one sentence and another, mixed with great feeling and in-depth looks and reflections and all of that in the original language of the Quran, using one verse after the other and the hadith and going from this statement to the statement the Prophet said and the Sahaba said. It's very hard to translate that. Very, very hard to translate that. I want you to imagine that as if somebody is reading something and then summarizing it from their memory, not translating it, summarizing it from their memory. And then someone takes that summary and try to go and explain it according to the limited ability of someone. You see how many levels you went? So how much did you lose in the process? Most of it. Truly, most of it. I'm sorry to say that, if it makes you feel bad that you do not know Arabic, but that's the truth. That's the exact truth. And I can challenge anybody saying otherwise. Those even who write works in English, they will render a good material based on how deep they know Arabic. I'll tell you something, without mentioning names. When this dilemma of Osama bin Laden and all this terrorist thing that came up like years ago, and when they killed Osama bin Laden, they found like his wasiyah. His wasiyah means his will, last will. And it was written in handwriting. It was handwritten by him. And then they published it online. And then everybody started taking a shot at it to translate it to English. And there was one scholar, Sheikh, that I know, and he is profound in both English, which is his mother tongue, is born and raised American, but he studied in-depth Arabic beyond you can not even imagine. He speaks Arabic without an accent even. And he translated it perfectly, except one line, which made all the difference. Based on that line that he translated, and actually when you come down to the line, there are two words. And those two words written in plain Arabic, clear as the sun. And two words, he perceived them wrong. So he translated them. And based on that translation, the whole context of that paragraph changed. And based on that, he judged how ignorant Osama bin Laden was in regards to Islamic inheritance law. Okay? So it was an intricate thing. So see, look at him. He is not even dividing his wealth according to the Islamic Sharia. That means this guy was ignorant about Islam. Aside from how terror or how big he is in terrorism, I'm not talking about that now. Forget about all of that. He's bad or this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about now the knowledge. And those who Arabic is not their main thing. It's not their mother tongue. And somebody can misunderstand, and based on that, the whole judgment becomes wrong. So, and a big article, how ignorant he is about Islam, and doing all of this in the name of Islam, all of that. And then, man, I sent him a message. I said, now what you're doing actually doing the disservice, because he's a terrorist. Okay, he's did damage. Okay, he did all of that. That's fine. But now, if somebody if somebody find wrong with what you're saying, what does that do? it puts you in a very awkward position, and it gives credit to that guy that you're trying to discredit. So what do you mean? I said, read it again. And he read it again and again, and he said, I told him, read it again. And then I told him, what is the i'rab? What is the declension of that? Like, how do you define that word? Is it an object or it is a subject? He said it is an object. I told him no, and that's what made you misinterpret it. It is a subject, and it is delayed in the place of an object. So you translate it as an object, as a recipient of a certain share that they don't deserve. Hence, the guy is wrong. While he's saying to that person to divide the wealth. Oh my God. I told him, yes. Oh, you're God. Yes, exactly. So why do you rush like that? This is a very delicate piece of information. And you do not play like that with a high-profile case. Well, what does that tell you? That tells you how powerful is the Arabic language. And Quran is like that. I give you another example. Like in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah Azza wa Jal says about Musa alayhi salam and Al-Khadr. What did they do when they ride the ship? Broke it, right? Why they broke it? Because there was a king that is taking every ship, which is good, right? Right. Okay. Look at the verse now, what the verse says in Arabic. أما السفينة, when he's explaining to Musa alayhi salam, أما السفينة, in regards to the ship, O Musa alayhi salam, that you do not understand what I did, why I did what I did. أما السفينة, in regards to the ship, فكانت, it was. See, I'm going word for word. فكانت, just to tell you that even the translation is not enough. I'll show you in a minute. فكانت, it was. لمساكين, li, belonging to. مساكين, plural of مسكين, that it was for poor people. يعملون في البحر, they are working in the sea. So this ship belonged to poor people, means they're poor. Their provision is like they own the ship, but their provision is very little. يعملون, they are working hard in the sea. أما السفينة فكانت لمساكين يعملون في البحر. وكان, and there was, وراءهم, the word وراء means behind. وراء, behind. Right? فكان وراءهم, behind them, ملك, a king. يأخذ, he takes, grabs, كل سفينة, every ship, غصبا. غصبا, يعني against the will. So he grabs and snatches it from them. Take the ownership from them. That's the literal translation, right? So there was a king behind them, taking every ship against their will. That's what you understood from the sisters. Is that what you understood from this verse? What I just translated now? Is there anything hidden here? No. You understood everything clearly, right?
Yes.
There is a ship, belonged to who? Poor people. Where do they work? In the sea. And behind them, there was a king. Huh? He is taking every ship by force. Okay, first challenge to you. If he takes every ship by force, regardless, why did they have to break it? Does the verse say he takes every ship by force? And why he did not take it so far? Why there was a ship working? Why there are ships working in the sea that Musa and Al-Khadr find the ship to go the other side with? If there is a king, he takes every ship. He seizes every ship there is. That means all the ships in that area should belong to him. Do you understand what I said, sisters, or there's something not clear? And the ayah says, كُلَّ سَفِينَةٍ, every ship. He takes it by force. He seizes every ship by force. So why he did not seize that so far? So it was a new ship, just made.
So are you saying that? Sorry. Are you saying that that ship was already wrecked? That ship already belonged to him, and then they wrecked it so that they could reclaim it?
No. So what is the point of saying that in the verse, that there is a king who takes every ship by force? Because if the ship belonged to the king, then he would not say that this ship belonged to poor people. The verse says it belongs to poor people. The verse exactly saying that this ship belonged to poor people. And there is a king who seizes every ship by force. Every ship. So why that ship was not seized?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So in the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَرَدْتُ أَنْ أَعِيبَهَا. Like, I wanted to break the ship. And that shows, like, not every safina, not every ship the king will take. He will not take this one because it's broken. It has defect in it.
But before the defect, why the king didn't take it?
Maybe he didn't know about it. Maybe they were hiding it. I don't know.
Hiding it, and it is working. It says that it says that the ship was owned by poor people. So that means they've been working there. And that's why when Musa and Al-Khadr went to the shore, they found the ship working. So it's a working ship.
They didn't know that.
So he knows there is a ship. It is working. It belongs to poor people. And he has to make a defect so the king does not take it. Right? So why the king did not take it so far? Why did he have to make? Why did the king see it, or he did not see it?
He did not see it yet.
Okay, so that's right. And as Sister Hiba mentioned, that I am doing the breaking of defect. So when he sees it, he does not take it. But why would he take it? So he does not take every ship. He doesn't take every ship. He takes ship with certain description. So I am breaking it in a way that it does not fit the king's description. Does this ayah say that? No, but you understand it from the Arabic text. That is why Abdullah ibn Abbas and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud were saying, كان وراءهم ملك يأخذ كل سفينة صالحة غاصبة. يعني every ship in good condition, he takes it. So that means that ship was new, maybe. He did not see it so far, possible. They did some re-innovation in it, so it became very good, and it meets the king's, qualities. And all of that, and the poor people didn't know. Because had they known, they would not sail with that ship. So the king would end up taking it from them. But they didn't know. Only Al-Khadr knew that he will take this specific ship. So he broke it. You see, all of this, you can understand it from the text, how the Arabic is. But you translate it to English, you don't get it. That's why I translated it to you. Type. You ready for the bigger one now?
Yes.
Where was the position of the king? Yani now they are riding the ship. They are on the shore, right? Yes?
Yes.
They are on the shore.
Yes.
And Musa and Al-Khadr boarded the ship. Yes?
Yes.
So now when the ship started sailing, what is behind it? The shore, right? The shore is behind them, right?
Yes.
الشط يعني وراهم, and they are sailing. So where is the king now?
I think in the other side, waiting for the ships.
So it's not behind them then.
The word behind him means they're a king waiting for that. It doesn't have to be literally behind them, like after them.
Exactly. You see, وكان وراءهم هنا معناها وكان أمامهم. So behind them means he's ahead of them. not behind them. So now if somebody translated, said, but it says وراءهم يا Sheikh. I said وراءهم in Egypt, for example, it says أنا وراك وراك. يعني وراك وراك means it doesn't mean I'm walking behind you. It means you're going to find me wherever you go. It means I'm ahead of you. صح? Right?
That's true.
You know, wherever you go, هتلاقيني وراك وراك. It doesn't mean يعني I am behind you. It means you look behind you, you're going to find me. No. يعني when somebody come to Masjid al-Salam and find me waiting for them there. When they go to Masjid Bilal, they find me there. So who went first? Me or them? Me, right? Because they came to Masjid Salam, they found me there. That means I arrived there before. Now they go to Masjid Bilal next Friday, they find me there. So who was there first? Me. Then next day, they went to Masjid Al-Ansar, they found me there. So when they talked to me, said, هو أنت ورايا ورايا? Are you always behind me? You see, in Arabic, we say that. You know, in English, you're going to say, are you, wherever I go, I find you? See, English is like that. But in Arabic, you said, you're always behind me. You are walking behind me. I'm not walking behind you. It means the opposite. Exactly. So what I'm trying to tell you is that knowledge of Islam served in Arabic is never like the knowledge of Islam served in any other language. And I don't mean to say that in a degrading way to anybody who understands. No, understanding it in English is better than not understanding it at all. Get whatever you can. And I try my best to, like I'm doing right now in front of you, I am using English to make you get a grasp of the Arabic. So now you understand. The wara means in front or ahead. Yes? It is like in Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق. To the end of the ayah. What is this ayah talking about?
Wudu.
Wudu, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Almost.
Okay. Do you do wudu before salah or after salah?
Before.
Does this ayah say that?
No, I have to understand it from the text.
Right. No, but this ayah says, do wudu and then do salah. It says, when you stand for salah, do wudu. Do you do wudu after iqamah? يعني you stand there in line and once the iqamah finishes, wait a minute, let me go do wudu, like the ayah said and come back? إذا قمتم فاغسلوا. You see, قمتم is a past tense. يعني when you stood for prayer, when you're standing for prayer, you know, do wudu. Right? So that's why it says إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة. إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة يعني when you do what would make you stand for صلاة. يعني إذا استعددتم فقمتم إلى الصلاة. عند الاستعداد. يعني before that you go do wudu. يا أيها الذين آمنوا شهادة بينكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت. يعني bring two witnesses for the وصية حين الوصية اثنان ذوى عدل منكم. To write your وصية when death comes to you. Who knows that when death comes to them? Like you wait, you're not going to write your وصية until the death comes to you. The death comes to you, you're dead already. Yes? حضر أحدكم الموت means you're dead. You're dying, you're dead. You're not going to be able to write. Actually, in fiqh, we do not take the وصية of somebody whose soul is coming out. Right? We do not take their shahada or their وصية. And here Allah says, when death is present, write your وصية. That means when you feel that the death is coming to you, maybe you read the وصية and you live another 10 years after, which happened for Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, he thought that he's in his death bed. He's on his deathbed. He said, Ya Rasulullah, how much I want to give all my money as a وصية? He said, no. He said, half of it. He said, 2/3. He said, no. Half. He said, no. He said, 1/3. He said, yes. الثلث والثلث كثير. لعله يمتد بك عمر. Maybe يا سعد, life will get longer for you. لأن تترك ورثتك أغنياء خير من أن تتركهم عالة يسألون الناس أعطوهم أو منعوهم. يعني it's better to leave your children with something So you give wasiyah to 1/3 to other than the inheritors, but leave the rest, 2/3 of your wealth to your inheritors, to leave them rich. And at that time, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas had one daughter only. But he lived about 30 years after that. And he had lots and lots of children. And it was the good advice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So حَضَرَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْمَوْتِ, يعني when you assume that you're going to die. And etc. And there are numerous verses like that. Yeah, it's not the time to mention that, but I'm just giving you examples of the importance of seeking knowledge and knowing Arabic. That's why some countries, they will start their children like by Qaeda, like Pakistan, India, and all that, Malaysia, Indonesia. They start with this Qaeda Nuraniya or the, whatever, like Alif Bata, regardless of knowing how to read or write or understand regular Arabic texts, but just to read the Quranic text, okay? And then they start memorizing the Quran, and once they finish memorizing the Quran, they may know Arabic, they may not know Arabic, that's their journey finished, they're being a hafiz, leading salah and all of that, or they study further and most likely they will know Arabic. That's why you'll find many of the Indian subcontinent or Malaysian, Indonesian, or non-Arab scholars, non-Arab means as an ethnicity, scholars who know in-depth studies of the Quran, they speak Arabic fluently. You will find that as a rule. So the more they know, the more Arabic they will know. Okay, so that's one way. That's like on that side, let's say this side of a beginner. Now on the other side, there are cultures that will not start their children in memorization, except when they know the Arabic grammar, rhetoric, البلاغة والأدب والشعر. يحفظون المعلقات السبع قبل أن يبدأ حفظ القرآن. He will memorize all these classical 7 poems that are known, the most famous 7 poems in Arabic. It's just like hundreds and hundreds of couplets or verses, أبيات من الشعر يعني. They memorize those with very hard to pronounce Arabic words. That's when the child is like 5-6 years old. They start the child when he starts talking. They started, singing poetry in front of them, especially the mothers. And this is very famous in Mauritania until our time now, that the mothers are the ones who teach the children until the age of 11 or 12. He does not go to a sheikh, a male sheikh, to teach him, except after knowing Arabic very, very well and being able even to do his own poetry, and then memorize the whole Quran with 1 or 2 narrations of Qira'at by the age 12. Then they start studying about the fiqh, al-mutun, the other things. That's why you find someone who's like 20 years old, a scholar, a big scholar. So that's the other side, yani. So that's how a person starts. Now, you do not have to go down all this way. You do not have to go high this way. So what I'm trying to establish here, I'm trying to establish 2 peripheries. Like, I wanted like these 2 lines and you're in between somewhere. You might be close to this side, you might be close to this side, but it's okay. Wherever you are, this is where you start. So my advice to any student of knowledge, you start with the text of the Quran. Learn words of the Quran. Like I explained to you now, word wara'ahum and word amamahum. Now you know that wara'ahum can come with amamahum. So every time you come and see the word wara', wara'i, wara'ahu, wara'ahum is the same thing. Behind him, behind them, it's behind. Amam, amamahu, amamahum, amamaka. So you understand now. So that's a word now that you have under your belt. Now you study Malik, the word Malik. You study the word Safina. See, in no lecture here. You know 5-6 words of the Quran already. So whenever you see them in the Quran, you are familiar with them. And you can increase your wealth like that. There are books in Quranic Arabic and all of that. So you start from that. Now, if you are an Arab and you know that, start with the text of the Quran to read it, understand it, and memorize it. If you can memorize it, that would be great. If you can't memorize it, you try to understand it. But when you are understanding, memorizing, understanding, and practicing it is the best. Like the Sahaba of Rasulullah, Hadith Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, we used to memorize 10 ayahs, and then we understand them and we practice them. فتعلمنا العلم فتعلمنا القرآن والعلم والعمل جميعا. So we learned the Quran, the text, we learned the knowledge, the meaning, and we learned the action, the practice. But maybe that what helped them, that the Quran was still getting revealed, but now we have the Quran in front of you, and that kind of frustrates us. When we look at the Quran, 600 pages, 3 juz, 114 surahs is too much for me. Then you abandon it. But segmentation or compartmentalization is very, very important and very effective. So you memorize a surah, then the next surah, then a third surah, then, put a timeline for yourself. And I'm going to do that. And like I was saying all the time, read 4 pages of Quran after every salah. You read 1 juz a day. Very simple, 4 pages. If you do 2 pages, then you finish Quran every 60 days. If you do 1 page, you finish Quran every 4 months. It's good. Imagine you reading 1 page of Quran a day. Every 4 months, you're going to finish the Quran. Simple. So it's just like that. And 1 page takes what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Depending on how fast you can read. If you don't know how to read, learn how to read. Find a sister who can teach you. Give it a 6 month, 4 months, 3 months, 1 month, whatever, time you have, budget you have. Do not be miser with your time, with your money, your effort to learn how to read Quran. You do not know how to read with tajweed, take a course. Learn how to read with tajweed. Invest in it like you invest in too many things. We go pay monthly to see a cable. We buy car on payment, house on payment, phone on payment, watch on payment, ring on payment. Okay, make learning Quran on payment too. Make a payment plan for somebody, and help them with their rizq, and they help you with your akhirah. صحيح يعني there is no excuse for anybody not to read Quran and not to understand Arabic. Wallahi, there's no excuse. Imagine the last 10 years, if you learn 1 word every day, 1 word of Arabic a day, 360 days times 10, 3,600 words. That's what you need actually to speak Arabic fluently. Root words, yeah. If you know 3,600, you are, mashallah, fusha scholar. That's if you learn 1 word every day. And I'm just saying it for taqreeb, just to get it closer to your head to understand and comprehend. It is simple, but when we look at the whole package, then we get scared. So learning Arabic, learning Quran, this is where you start. Learning the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Before a student come to seek the hadith and memorize the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they ask him, memorize Quran? He said, no, could you go memorize it and come back. So then you appreciate, and you do not get busy with the science of hadith without knowing the words of Allah. Quran and Sunnah go hand in hand, and the Sunnah is to explain Quran. So how you study the Sunnah while you do not know what you need to explain with the Sunnah? So with those two, my advice that each one of you make like a schedule every single day, 5 days a week. This is what I'm going to study. 1 day Quran, 1 day Hadith, or 2 days Quran, 3 days Hadith, or 3 days Quran and 2 days Hadith, or Quran in the morning and Hadith at night, or 1 week this one, whatever it is. And have a study mentor, like somebody who knows more than you, knowledgeable than you. The more knowledge is better. And those people will be very busy. So if you can start a class like our class now and stuff like that, that would be great. A halqa once a week or something like that, and you take the guidelines and then go the rest of the week and work on it. So make a study of the Quran, write your own notes on computer, on iPad or iPhone or whatever, write your notes. Or record your notes. Record them. Today I learned in this surah such and such and such. And Ibn Kathir mentioned like this, and Al-Qurtubi mentioned like this. Lots of audiobooks now and all of that, search engines and everything. So you can take 1 ayah and see whatever written in it, or take 1 subject and see whatever written in it, or take 1 subject and see how many ayahs in it. How many ayahs of the Quran talking about fasting? people. See, now the first thing is, oh, that's easy. We're going to go talk about the ayat of the Siyam in Surah Al-Baqarah. Right? كتب عليكم الصيام and all that. And then, Allah Azza wa Jal said, والصائمين والصائمات. Right? Anything else about fasting? Huh? Anybody knows a word in the Quran about fasting that does not have the word fasting in it? تكلم عن الصيام بدون كلمة الصوم. Anyone? Talking about fasting without using the word صيام or صوم. Sisters, anyone? أي آية في القرآن تتكلم عن الصيام بدون ذكر رمضان ولا الصيام؟
Even Allah told Hazrat Maryam to fast.
No, but still, إني نذرت للرحمن صوما. So the word صيام is mentioned. I'm talking about this صاد واو ميم is not mentioned. Yet, fasting is referred to. You see, you need to study the Quran more. Do you know that when Allah Azza wa Jal told the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet's wives, if you rebel against the Prophet, Allah Azza wa Jal will compensate him with wives, right? Muslimatin, what does that mean? Muslims, right? Muslim women. Mu'minatin, believing women. Qanitatin, what does qanitatin mean? Means they stand in submission to Allah Azza wa Jal. مسلمات مؤمنات قانتات تائبات, they repenting women. عابدات, what does that mean? Worshippers. سائحات, what does سائحات means? Fasting women. They fast. See, the word siyaha in classical Arabic means fasting. Surprised? They are not tourists. They are not tourists. سائحات, يعني they are fasting. ثيبات وأبكارا, they were married before or they never married before. But the word سائحات means fasting. Another verse, Allah Azza wa Jalla says in Surah Al-Haqqa, كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما أسلفتم في الأيام الخالية. يعني بصيامكم. Eat and drink with the time that you spend fasting. The word fasting is not mentioned here. But أسلفتم what? يعني why do we eat and drink? The reward is being in Jannah for the salah and all of the other ibadat. But when you say eat and drink as a reward, it has to be for missing eating and drinking in life. So كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما أسلفتم, يعني بما صمتم, بما أسلفتم من عمل اللي هو الصيام, يعني في الأيام الخالية, the past time. And that's why when somebody does not know Arabic, come and say, why are you bringing words that's not mentioned in the Quran? And say, you man, because you do not get it. Why do you think Allah chose Arabic language to be the language for the final revelation? Because you don't have to mention everything. Language is a language that you say one word and there are 20 words implied, 100 words implied in one word. And that's the beauty of the Arabic language. Not every word has to be mentioned in the text. I don't have to mention things to you. You know, the definition of statement in Arabic is that anything you utter with your tongue, say with your hand, or gesture with any part of your body. It is called كلام, قول. القول غير الكلام يعني. كلامنا لفظ مفيد. يعني it has to be utterance, كلام. But when you say القول, وقال بعينه هكذا. يعني he did like this with his eye. قال بعينه. He said that with his eye. So he said with his eye. وقال بيده هكذا. He did that with his hand. In Arabic he said like that with his hand. He said with his hand, go. Or he said with his hand, come. Right? Even when you come and say to somebody, like he said, I want you to go and convince that person with such and such. You tell him, أقول. What does that mean now? Anybody tells me? The Arabic masters? أقول? What am I asking him?
You want me to
What
say
am
and
I
go
asking him
convince?
now? No, actually, I'm asking him, can I lie? Because, you know, he's telling me, go convince him. How do you think I'm going to convince him? With words, right? Right? So it's understood that I'm going to go أقول, أتكلم يعني. I'm going to talk. But when I tell him أقول, يعني means, can I go beyond the regular statements? Means, can I lie? And that's actually mentioned in the hadith. When the Prophet ﷺ said, go arrest that person, said, نقول يا رسول الله, يعني can we lie to him to arrest him? He said, نعم. Yes, you can. What I'm trying to tell you now is very advanced, right? But it's actually very basic. That's very basic. That's why when you say, when somebody wants to understand Al-Quran واشتغل بالتفسير, you have to know this linguistics. You have to know the ins and outs and the intricacies of the Arabic language. You have to know البلاغة والبيان والمعاني والبديع. They said there is about 24 different subjects, not topics, that a person needs to know in depth before he claims that he can do tafsir. Other than that, like me, like everybody else, I am just telling you what the mufassirin said. So I'm not a mufassir now. I'm not doing tafsir of the Quran. I'm not doing explanation of the hadith. I am relaying to you what the mufassirin said. So I am a reader. I am someone who is explaining to you so you can understand what they wrote. But I'm not going beyond that. I'm just telling you what is written. You think that, oh, Sheikh Mamdouh is the one who's bringing all of this, so, oh, he's a smart guy. No, I'm not saying anything new. I'm not claiming that this is my, even when I say khatira or reflection, this is knowledge that is there. You don't know it, and I know it, and I'm giving to you what you don't know. As simple as that. But I'm not initiating knowledge and claiming that I understood what Allah knows, what Allah said, and I'm saying it. Because already the scholars did that for us. So you start with the Quran, the tafsir of the Quran, if you know Arabic, اشتغل بذلك, يعني learn the Arabic, learn the tafsir of the Quran, what is written in it. You'll learn a lot of classical Arabic, you'll learn lots of hadith, you'll learn lots of seerah, you'll learn lots of fiqh while you're studying tafsir. So actually studying the Kitab of Allah, which I decided for myself, for example, that is my core, that is my base, and based on that, I am studying everything. So my specialty is Quran and Quranic science, but I'm branching off to everything. But I cannot say I'm a specialist in fiqh, for example, jurisprudence. I cannot say I'm a specialist in hadith or I'm a specialist in seerah. I'm a specialist in Quran, qira'at, the understanding of the Arabic text, the words of Quran, how many times this word was repeated, how was it used. Yeah, I know that. So that's okay. So you can choose. There are scholars who base everything, their base is fiqh, and they branch off. But whenever they come to an intricacy of the Quran, they'll come and ask me, even though there are scholars in fiqh. And when I come to an intricacy of fiqh or usul fiqh, I go to them. And I go to a muhaddith who knows the science of hadith and the weak and the strong, and this hadith is this hadith is mentioned here or there. I ask them, they give it to me. And that's why you cannot be all of that at once. You're before, yes. يعني الصحابة were like that. Tabi'een was like that. People who are like 600 years later, like Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim and Ibn Rajab and Ibn Muflih, all these people, yeah. Ibn Kathir في التفسير, they were like encyclopedia. Imam Suyuti later on, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani later and later. Those people that they were encyclopedia scholars. In everything, you think that they are the master of that science, literally speaking. And when they, Imam Suyuti, he when he speaks about النحو والصرف وكده, he has an alfiyah, like alfiyat ibn Malik, alfiyat Suyuti. It is known. In Sirah, he did also 1,000 lines of poetry about the Sirah of the Prophet. When he speaks al-Hadith, he's a hafiz of Hadith. When he does with the Quran, Dur al-Manthur of Imam Suyuti, he's a mufassir of the Quran. In fiqh, he did explanation of Al-Majmu' Sharh al-Muhaddab by Imam al-Nawawi. So yeah, he's everywhere. He is like the scholar of that science. But now this is very rare in our time. You do not find that. Maybe one or two people. Yeah, you can count that they were scholars of a science, of all sciences. So you start with Quran and you branch off. You will see in the Quran there are rules of fiqh, the marriage, the salah, the hajj, and from the Quran you go and see, okay, here is the rule of the wudu. Example, يعني we talked about wudu. إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم. So this ayah here means fiqh. So fiqh of wudu. So you're going to go to fiqh sunnah or fiqh on the four madhab, or you choose one madhab and study the fiqh of wudu. You branch off and you go as deep as you want. You go as deep as you want in that mas'ala. So now you are reading the tafsir of the Quran, but you branched off to the fiqh until you are satisfied that I have enough now. Now I'm going to get lost if I go more than that. Now I know enough about wudu and what violates the wudu, what is mustahab, what is Imam Malik says, what Imam Abu Hanifa says. Now you're going to comparative fiqh and so on. Okay? Now comes an ayah about nikah, marriage. You go and study about marriage. But then you are going to get into intricacies of it. No, I stop over there. Or you like it, and now you become a specialist in marriage affairs and mediation and arbitration and what happened in divorce and all of that, and you branch off, you become a specialist in that topic, not in all the fiqh, but in the fiqh of marriage or the fiqh of divorce, like I did, for example, in my PhD in marriage dissolution. So the fiqh of marriage dissolution, I searched it for almost 5 years, like until I know everything written in it, mostly. And then, you study that, it becomes your specialty, but it does not make you a jurist. But when you dedicate all your life for sense of the Quran, it makes you a scholar of the Quran. Somehow, little tiny scholar, medium scholar, not extra large. So I want you to do that. And pace yourself. Pace yourself, ما لا يدرك كله لا يترك جله. What you cannot achieve it in its entirety, you cannot leave most of what you can do. Well, as I said, most of what you can do is studying like once a week for 1 hour tafsir. Fine, do it. Some students said, Sheikh, how can I be a student of knowledge? I said, come Sunday morning for Riyadh al-Salihin. They said, I said, come Sunday morning. And they have been coming for like a year or two. Like one of the brothers, I remember, he said, Sheikh, this has been the highlight of my life. It helped me a lot with my marital relationships. So what does it have to do with anything? And then I said, because Riyadh al-Salihin is about akhlaq. It's teaching the person about manners. Now he is having an issue with his marital relationship with his spouse. So he started applying what we do for him. Now he gave me another perspective. And that's what I'm talking about. Maybe it is right in front of you, but you're not seeing it. It's right in front of you, but you're not seeing it. So attend the Riyadh al-Salihin in the morning. Attend the 5-minute khatira every Thursday. 5 minutes. So no excuse. Attend it online. You don't have to come to the masjid. Find, not only me, find some regular class that happens once a week or twice a week or once every other week, and attend it. But don't attend those feel-good classes. I'm sorry, don't attend those feel-good symposiums or seminars, or I'm going to go there and get a certificate. Believe me, this is old. This is not right. Look for high value. Our time is our big investment in this world. Don't waste your time. Not even if you are even learning something good, why you go spend a weekend just to socialize with people? I myself, Mamdouh, stopped going to Imam conferences. See, Imam conferences, 500 Imam meet together. May Allah bless them. Many of them benefit and all that. But I found that I don't benefit. It's not because I'm arrogant. No, wallahi. I find that I go there on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I'm listening to stuff that it is written. Every sheikh wrote his article or his research, which is in a book, that if I read, I'll understand fully exactly what they wrote. And what they're doing is presenting it. So they are not giving me a workshop in it or teaching me in details like what they wrote, and I'm debating it and arguing it and studying it and discussing it. No, they're just sitting there and one after the other presenting. There are 20 different researches and every sheikh comes on the podium there. And so for me now, after 27-year experience as an imam, I don't need that. I need something else. And I told them clearly, if there is part of the conference for the senior imams, ahlan wa sahlan. Give me a workshop about mediation, about arbitration, about this, about that. And they started doing that, alhamdulillah. But, you know, why? Why do I spend from 9 to 5 while I can serve my community in the masjid? 5, 6 people every day can come and ask me a question, I answer them, or I solve the problem, or they even see me in salah, or I give a khatir after salah. This is more important to me. So I want you to do the same thing, because I found that all sisters and all, they want feel-good stuff, you know, and they want a certificate, feel-good and a certificate. Those are the two destroyers of seeking knowledge. Don't go behind feel-good. Get yourself out of your comfort zone. In knowledge, ما ينفعش تبقى comfortable. You cannot be comfortable. You have to fight sleep. You have to fight your rest. You have to fight your laziness. You have to be out of your comfort zone all the time until you die. There is nothing called like, okay, now I have a PhD. No, actually, I put more hours than I used to put in my PhD now, collecting this to make it books for people to read. And I know after books, I have to translate. And after translation, I have to edit. And after edit, I have to make more research to see what people know and what people need and what I know. And I learn more and I give people more. And that's how it is. So from today, I want you to understand that knowledge is so enormous. You have to know you are very little. Number 2, you achieve as much as you can. Allah kept it open. Number 3, pace yourself, means there has to be something achieved every day or every week or every month. But you cannot let your life pass in front of you like that. Number 4, pick the subject of your passion, Quran or Hadith or Fiqh or Seerah or Aqidah or Akhlaq, you know, manners, and focus on it and branch off to every other subject. You're reading Akhlaq and you find the fiqhi mas'ala. Go study it as much as you can in depth. You're reading Tafsir and you find something about Battle of Badr. Go study Battle of Badr in the books of Seerah and branch off. You're studying in the books of Seerah and you find the Hadith quoted. Go to the science of Hadith and study it very well. That's how you branch off, you know? But you focus on one topic and make it your passion. Read as much as you can in it in depth and go from there. Also, do not forget Arabic language. Learn as much as you can, daily, weekly, monthly. Learn. Always specify and focus on the best offered in town. If science of Hadith, or Sheikh Mamdouh only did Riyadh al-Salihin, but I'm interested in more than that. I finished with him Riyadh al-Salihin, but now I want to study Bukhari, Tirmidhi, Muslim, Ibn Majah, all of that. Who's in town? There's nobody in town. That's out of town. I can do it online. Yes, go ask. Is this the best Hadith class in the United States offered or overseas? Yes, go for it, and so on. So I wish I give you some guidelines today about how to build your knowledge, endless knowledge, it's endless, and how you build yours that ends with the last breath that it is coming out of our mouth to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallallahu sallam wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for listening. Any question or comment?
Jazakallah khair.
Inshallah, I have 2 books that they are coming out soon. Inshallah, after Eid, I'm going to finalize with the publishing house in Egypt. That one of them is المضامين التربوية لعرض قضية الطلاق في الشريعة. يعني the educational aspects of presenting the case of talaq in Sharia. What do we learn? Why Quran presented talaq like that? What are the the steps that Allah Azza wa Jalla used in the Quran to prevent the talaq and all of that, right from the time of engagement until the time until we having children, raising children to be husband and wife, and then if it didn't work, what is the talaq, what comes after talaq, all of that in a 300-page book, alhamdulillah. The second book is الملامح النفسية لتشريع الطلاق. it is a psychological aspect of the divorce matter, the psychological aspect, why the iddah is like that, why Allah talked about the wife like that, why the wife takes nafaqat al-mut'a, this psychological aspect of custody, why the mother have it, why not the father, why the mother does not take half of the wealth of the husband, but the children, take a lot of it, while the Western law gives the woman a lot, but gives the children a little bit, those things, psychological aspects, right? And then the third one is the comparison between the Texas Family Code, the legal system in the United States would focus on Texas Family Code, compared to the Sharia and its impact on Muslim minorities, like who goes to the court versus those who want the Sharia, and how we apply and how we can create a hybrid and all of that kind of thing. So that's like book number 3. Then we have book number 4, which is the jurisprudence aspect with comparison to the Egyptian law, with the fiqh issue. As an example, like how Muslim country, do they have everything Islamic law or not? And compared to what we have here, Western thing that accommodate Islamic law, and what's the difference? And the final book will be actually an introduction to the series about the history of divorce from the beginning through all the religions and through all history and all of that. So maybe it is not a good topic for many people, but my intention actually is to make people know about something which is not desired, just to avoid it. يعني عرفت الشر لا للشر ولكن لتوخيه ومن لا يعرف الشر من الخير يقع فيه. يعني knowing evil is good to avoid it, but we ignore it until it becomes rampant in the community and we don't have a solution for it. So inshallah, يعني, those are the Arabic 2 books, and the translation will start right away, inshallah. So make dua for me, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for working so hard on those. I mean, those are really topics we shy away from, but when it hits, it hits, and we don't know how to handle it. And
Right. So actually, for those who have a happy marriage, those books would be very good to appreciate what they have and teach it to the others who are struggling. And for those who are struggling, this will be like a manual for them how to deal with it. And for those who are meditating it or thinking about it, to show them the negative effects and the repercussions of their decisions. So basically, it's nobody actually made a conscious effort before. And I'm not claiming that I am brilliant, but nobody in the whole current contemporary time gathered all those aspects under one umbrella before. So I pray that I am someone that who will help the Muslim Ummah, inshallah, with this project, inshallah.
inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. I'll see you, inshallah, next week.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Thank you very much for today. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.